And it is on. We have our Protoss player starting at the top of Antigua. The Slayers player who showed us a really interesting game on Entombed Valley against his opponent in his host Afriki. It is
Slayers Krenke!
Showing some great multitasking last game in the mid game. I have full confidence he can hold Jakji's drops if he wants to.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very interesting how he's going to deal with this Terran aggression. At the bottom of the map, his opponent in the blue. We currently have the NS Hosa player, a former GSL champion. We have
NS Hosa Jakji!
Do you remember when we talked about the colors that he could use?
The colors?
Yeah, the colors. Like, would be a good color combination. We talked about it during the qualifier.
Yeah, the blue.
Look at the minimap.
Yeah. They chose it, man. They listened to us.
Yeah, they listened to us. They
blue and yellow complement each other so well.
I like it.
I really like it as well. You know what's ironic, though, is that Slayers was given yellow, even though they have a blue team. So that's something that's a little bit weird. Slayers Boxer, he's very...
Very something. I couldn't read as well. I was trying to decipher.
That's actually how I feel about Boxer too. You can't quite define what he is.
He's a mystery.
He is a mystery. He's a man of mystery. He's a man of power and intelligence.
Yeah, who currently struggles with a shoulder injury.
Yeah. By the way,
this is really unfortunate.
Gas has been taken for Jakji here.
Something that we usually don't see all that often.
Not on this map, especially. It's very difficult to make that siege tank push work on this map. People have done it in the past. The secondary ramp used to be something that a lot of Prolosses struggled to defend with that type of push, but it's something they've really figured out. The Immortals got +1 range, made it a little bit easier. I'm really curious to see what we're going to see from him. He may, in fact, just 2-racks. Like, that's obviously a possibility. He's moving his SCV into a location now, though, that indicates that he wants to proxy something.
Exactly, because, and that's the factory.
And with that positioning of the factory, we may see, well, we may see Thors. I mean, I don't know. What is that? That's, like, not quite the best. I mean, it's far enough away that Protoss probably won't scout it. If he goes to check that spawning location, he won't go that far down to see the factory. He may still go Banshees.
It's been ages since I've seen proxy Thors. It's a very unusual strategy. The last time that I casted it was actually on an Calm Before the Storm. But it's something that you can use. I don't really think he's going to do it because he doesn't have the gas. So he could also just try to position the factory in a place where he can use it in order to scout his opponent's main base later on.
Yeah, with the positioning, I think it's more so a hide factor than a rally factor. You know, it's not going to be that much faster to rally anything. And yeah, he's going to make a starport with that SCV. There it goes, smartly making it above the factory. Nexus goes down for Crank, who is going for a very typical one-gate expand. Sending his Stalker now across the map. Will be able to deny the SCV scout, which is actually quite huge. In fact, the SCV gets away. I can't believe it. Oh, the second Stalker.
Yeah, he's
he still sees it.
Yeah, he spots it. He spots the expansion. He knows about the Nexus that it's currently building. We have the starport nearly completed. And he's just going for a Hellion drop here.
Yep. This is
following up with the double gateway. Crank that is.
This Hellion drop is a great opening because it does a lot of damage oftentimes, and it gives you a level of map control that no other build really can. In this matchup, I really feel that way. You can't really get map control any other way than a Hellion drop like this. Like, if you go Banshees, yeah, your opponent can leave like 2 Stalkers, 3 Stalkers home, he's fine. But in this case, you have to leave so many units because you're not sure what you're going to face. No Command Center just yet, though, so I'm not 100% sure what the next step is going to be.
He denied the scout, though, and right now, Frank does not exactly know what's going on. He does not really have a lot of scouting information. We have the SCV on the low ground, so he will start his command center very soon.
Since he went 3 gates before Robo, he's going to have an observer very, very late. And if his units are out of position even a little bit, he's gonna potentially lose damage here, but he's got 2 Stalkers in position to defend the drop. His other units are on the ramp, so he can send them over right away. I think he will take very minimal damage from this.
The Stalkers are definitely in a position where he can start to defend against it. The question is Jakji going to commit even though he sees the Stalker? And yes, he does.
He will.
He's moving in, drops the Hellions and tries to do the damage. Oh, they cluster, and they cluster quite a bit. He takes out 7 immediately. Another 2 follow suit, and he's now at 10 probe kills.
10 probe kills, putting the worker count at 27 SCVs to 23 probes. The command center does go down to the natural for Jakji, who has floated his 2 production facilities back home, and I think he's going to start siege tank production to hold his natural now, taking a slight harvester lead and arguably a tech lead as well.
This attack was definitely worth it, but he could have. Yeah, but I'm not quite sure if he gets him into the spot where he wanted to be. He definitely aimed for more.
He wanted
probes,
to do more for sure.
because there is still energy left for Crank, and he's using it right now for his Nexus, for both of them, in order to get more probes out. And because of this very, very late expansion of this very late command center, he will have a significant lead in harvesters, regardless of how much damage he just did.
He's going to go... Yeah, you're right. He's going to go for a reactor first on his factory to switch with the starport. He's going to make a few medevacs. He's gone up to 3 barracks now. He's doing very late tech, obviously. Hitting him with +1 now for his Marines. He's going to start stim probably before Comet Shields. There it is on the production tab. And he will... have to switch into Vikings very soon. As soon as he spots that his opponent has gone for this robotic support bay. Another drop is going to occur, this time full of Marines.
I want to talk about this position for a second, because this is something, I've talked with Naniwa about it, and it's something that always gets me going. To the top right of Antigua, this is the one position where you can be 100% sure that Terran will drop. He will be there. So why do Protoss players still build their tech structures, their most important tech structures, at the top right of the main base when they could just build them at the natural? It does not make any sense. It's just because this was kind of happening when we had not that much of a strong drop play. So it's kind of embedded in the brain or in the mechanics of every Protoss player that they just throw down their tech structures.
Historically, we've found ground pressure to be the problem for Protoss, attacking by ground with bioforces. Early 3 racks, 2 racks, those types of builds were dominant in the early days, so people avoided putting their tech on the low ground.
And now it's so deeply embedded in their mechanics, they don't really think about it. It's just on autopilot. You reach the level, you say, okay, I have to get my buildings, and you just start automatically building them at the top right. And we've seen so many games, so many TVPs, where the Protoss player gets dropped, he loses his tech, and loses the game.
Yeah, we have seen that a lot.
So Protoss players really need to figure out a little bit that on a map like Antigua, you have to start building your tech structures a little bit more to the left, in a location where they are more secure, because he's building now the 3 gates exactly at this location where he should hide his tech. Not only hide it, but also secure against drop play. Those gateways, he can lose 1 gateway or 2 and just rebuild them. But if you lose the robotic support bay, that's it for the Colossi. You have to get the robotic support bay again, and the position between the 2 bases is so much more secure.
Yeah, you're right. I'm impressed with Crank's ability to deny drops so far. His Stalker positioning has been great. He did lose some pros, but his reaction was so quick early on. I'm wondering is Joshi really going to commit to this drop, or is he just going to try to pick off pylons and stalkers that are on the edge? It looks like he's just going to do that. I don't think he's going to elevator in here. He's just going to try to pick units off on the side. Simming only 3 units, quite literally. He's going to pick this pylon off, and any stalkers who get too close gets away. This type of harassment is actually the most effective because you get something no matter what. There is nothing to lose with this. Twilight Council going up here, sticking with the 1 forge right now for Crank. He wants to tech up to that he wants to get probably Blink first here. And with the amount of Colossus he's trying to get out as well, I think he's basically, he can't double forge right now until he gets the 3rd base. He's actually adding a ton of gateways. He may just go for a big push.
He's adding a lot of gateways. He just completed 3, and now he's getting additional 2. We have 46 to 52 harvesters, while the first few medevacs are in the game. He's getting now a lot of the Vikings and 3 medevacs. So the Viking count is just increasing here. Well, we have Crank going for the charge upgrade, and also, well, with the Temple Archives, he will have Storm later on. But this is a very, very hesitant game right now. This is the mid-game in TVP, where we usually see just both players trying to get a 3rd base up, trying to get their tech going. After the first initial drop play for the Terran, it's always coming down a little bit.
By the way, I just learned something about the last game we saw. Remember when I said, oh, he has enough Colossi, so we find where does Colossi go? I don't know, where are his Colossi? Turns out, we didn't catch this when the Observer showed, he killed his own Colossi to free up supply to make more carriers. Just thought I would say that in a second, like in this voice where I'm kind of freaking out a little bit about that. But we're going to have this pylon picked off again, and the pylon has to be there to detect drops. Could have been placed a little bit further away, but it's not like, this is the thing, it's probably someone out there who's wondering, well, why does he put his pylon there when he just lost a pylon there? Well, he has to spot the drops coming in. If they come in from the side and he doesn't catch them, he's going to be in trouble. I'm not sure if this is the right moment for Jockey to attack. He has enough Vikings but his opponent's composition is still a little bit too strong for him to engage like this. He is really committing right now. In fact, he's 20 supply up and 20 army supply up as well. He's really, really, really focusing on this. He's actually going to drop in the main to draw the forces there, and then he's going to hit this big commitment in the natural. He's actually going. The Vikings getting some great volleys off. Nice kiting here. There are no stalkers in position.
He won't be able to save them regardless of what happens because there are way too many Vikings. The Colossi, they die. And
and some hesitation with the Zealots.
He's moving in with his drone army.
Him.
He gets in the force field and not spot on.
Oh man, but now he does not have the majority of his bio.
He's charging in with everything he has. Storm is not completed though, and he's just kiting these units while a lot more Zealots trying to get them morphed in. But the main problem is now that there are way too many bio units and the reinforcements are already in position. There is no area of effect, there's no Storm now, no Colossi, and he is just obliterating him.
He cannot stop the damage output. Jakji has done it, tearing through these Zealots. A lot of hesitation from Crank here at the worst possible time. And that one Archon could kill maybe 8 units with one blast, but he cannot close the distance. He's stuck behind his probes, and this game is over. GG! NS Hosa takes the lead. Jakji showing some great drop play, some great aggression, and overall, neither player overcommitting to economy. No third base from either of them. Just basically playing as safe as can be.
Jakji with a very nice game here. And, well, he puts another point on the scoreboard for NS Hosa. We have them up with 2-1 against Slayers. And this is what we talked about before the game started. In case that Crank loses, Slayers, they will have an answer. They have been training snipers. Sella told us, and he said, we will definitely have at least 2 players that are just here to play on a certain map, in a certain matchup, and will be able to take down a player like Jakji. So I'm really curious to see who exactly the next player is going to be and what map they are going to choose.
Yeah. You know, of course, the coach has been designated Slayer's Jessica here, but we all know that Slayer Cell is actually like Rasputin right now. He's actually just giving all the advice to Slayer's Jessica. And, I mean, he's sitting there whispering in her ear, and she is going to make good decisions as a result. Slayer Cell have been around making decisions for Slayers for a really long time. Like you said, he knows everything.
So tired. He was so tired today. I talked to him at the Code A qualifier and was like, why exactly are you so tired? He's like, GSTL, GSTL. He was up half the night talking and thinking about what they were going to do, and they just put a lot of work and effort in it. So I'm pretty sure that we will see a very...
a calculated response.
Yeah, a calculated response, well thought out. But this is the Team League, and we've seen in the first 2 games that this can be so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's already starting to be pretty crazy, but basically, our scores have been so close so far as well. No team has looked dominant over the other. It's kind of been a player versus player situation in most cases. Like, for example, Crank showed amazing play against Zerg. And then now he was taken out by Jakji, who's got an over 60% win rate versus Frost. He's a GSL champion. How can they kill Jakji, though? Jakji, overall, in the individual leagues recently, has not impressed. He was not able to get out of his up and down group to get into Code S.
Jakji is struggling in Terran versus Terran. This is the one matchup where he's not all that great. And he's good against
Do you pill out Ryung here and do a TVT snipe? Is that what you would do? I think that this may be a choice that Slayers decides to make, but it's kind of like showing your cards a little bit too early because we have other players like Sculp on NS Hosa that are going to be difficult to deal with. Do you send them out at this stage?
Seal as well later on.
Yeah, so we'll see who they're going to pick. The choice is now.
They have the EG players, and they are going for it. It's JYP. No, it's Puma. I would have been really surprised if JYP would have just
me too. He's not very good in that matchup.
Just about to mention Puma as we were talking about the Terran players that they have in their roster, and with EG, with a partnership, it is Puma who was not able to get through the Code A qualifier, but we talked about it that it seems to be the Korean curse. He's doing so well in foreign tournaments, but on the other hand, every time he participates in the Code A qualifier, he's losing early on. Do you like his hair color?
I do, man.
Really?
Very few people can pull off the blonde, but I think he can. And look at actually how well his bangs are cut. Notice how they just barely touch his eyebrows, man. And that type of compliment is nice because...
I actually just learned what bangs are.
Oh, really?
Look at me. Look at me, Wolf, okay?
I know... You know what... Alright, well, now I know that you know, but look at how they touch his eyebrows, which is difficult because if you dye your hair blonde like this, sometimes people even go as far as to dye their eyebrows because it creates so much of a contrast. But in this case, it makes a nice contrast with how he's dyed his hair. Look at the lighting on it as well.
When you start talking about it, you have way too much knowledge about it. Way too much.
Well, Puma has shown, I mean, basically...
Would you be a hairdresser, a hairstylist, if you weren't a sucker for casting?
I would consider it.
You would consider it?
I would consider it,
go.
but I think I found my career here.
Okay.
Anyway, Puma, a great choice, an all-around good player, can take out a player in TBT, can take out some other races as well. We are going to have a 5-minute break. When we return, we'll see if Joshi can push the score ahead or if Puma will tie things up here at the Hot 6 GSTL 2012 Season 2.